When I worked on cruise ships, I came in touch with this amazing dish known as dal, and here is my take on this wonderful, nutritious plant-based meal. So first we're going to wash the lentils very well. You'll need to use red lentils when you're making dal. I like to give it a good rinse till the water runs clear, and then you're going to soak the red lentils. I'd soak them for 15 minutes, maybe 30, and what I do is while they're soaking, I go ahead and prep my food. So we'll start with the onions. If you have been following me, you know I love the flavor of sauteed onions. So I start with the onions because what I want to do is go ahead and cook them for a good 30, 45 minutes, even up to an hour. For this dish, I'm going to use coconut oil, add the onions, and let those babies just cook and simmer. And while I do that, I prep the other ingredients. So here I am peeling the ginger. I love ginger, so you're probably going to see me use way more ginger than you probably need for this dish, but it's great for you. I love the flavor, love the texture it gives to the cuisine. So, and like I said, this is my take on dal, so I do use extra ginger. I'm going to mince it here and get it ready, and then we'll put it in the bowl and set it aside. Now it's time to mince the garlic. So I gently press the garlic with a butcher knife. Here I'm using a Santoku knife. The peel easily comes off, and then just chop those babies up. Now that we've got all our chopping and mincing done, I'm going to go ahead and get ready to prepare the whole spices. In this dish, I'm going to use a bay leaf or two, some clove, a star anise, cinnamon sticks, and green cardamom pods. For my ground spices, I've got my turmeric, my allspice, ground mustard, cumin, and coriander. I use about a teaspoon or two. You can divvy it up based on your taste levels, and I just put them in a small bowl and set them aside. This is a great dish to taste as you go, so as you're putting the flavors together, you taste it. If it feels off, just adjust your seasonings. So now that the onions are all browned and ready to go, I'm going to go ahead and add my garlic. Remember, garlic does stick, so we only want it to be in here for about a minute or two. And just what we're doing is waking up that garlic, letting that flavor really set in with the onions. And then we're going to add our ginger. Same thing, also very prone for sticking, so make sure you only cook it for about a minute or two, otherwise it will start to clump and burn. Pop in those ground spices that we set aside. Also, you might want to add a little bit of crushed red pepper to give it a little bit of pop. And you can always add a little bit of kosher salt here. Then we're going to add our whole spices that we set aside, wake those babies up, stir them around. We're doing this for about a minute or two. Time to add those diced tomatoes. I choose to use just regular tomatoes that I've had on the vine, but you can always use canned tomatoes. And you want to cook these down till they get really saucy. And then once those tomatoes have been cooking a little bit, maybe 15-20 minutes, give it a little stir to make sure stuff's not sticking. Now that the tomatoes have been able to simmer a little bit and break down, it's now time to move on. So we're going to go ahead and add the coconut milk. Now, my recipe normally calls for 1 can of milk for this proportion. I use 2 because I like my dal to be a little bit creamier. Once again, make it the way you like it. Give that a swirl, give it a simmer, and then here's a good time to taste to see if the flavors are doing well. You can always adjust them or add a little bit more kosher salt to bring them out. You'll want to bring it to a light boil, and then you're going to add the red lentils. So after I soak them, I did drain them. I just gently add them in there with my hand so it doesn't splatter. Give it a stir, and we want to gently bring this to a simmer. So what you're going to do is gently bring up the heat so that it doesn't stick, but you get a light boil. And then once you get that boil, bring it down to a simmer. Okay, we got that light boil slash simmer going on, so I'm going to give it a quick little stir here to make sure stuff isn't sticking to the bottom. Put the lid on and then bring the heat down to a simmer. And we're going to let these simmer for about 20 minutes. Halfway through, you can go ahead and check to make sure it's still simmering and that it's not sticking at the bottom. But there you have it. That is dal. And you can eat it by itself, or you can pair it with my turmeric rice. Go ahead and check my channel for the video on how to make turmeric rice. It's a great way to pair the two together. I will be honest with you, the first night of eating this it may taste okay, but you need the flavors to really set in, so the next night and nights after that, it's even better. And there you have it. That's my dal over turmeric rice. And a portion this size of a 5-quart pot gets me about almost 2 weeks of dinner in one easy pot.